we have to keep you medicalized. And then I got a note and I'm fired.
Brad, how did you find Carnivore?
Well, Dave, it was a long path to get here. So if I can start kind of at the beginning, well, I have to go back 40 years. I'm 69 this year. And I struggled with weight gain and weight loss for 40 years. And by the time I was in my early 40s, I was medicalized by the family physician. And the first was a statin, and then gout pills, then a bigger statin, water pills, 2 blood pressure meds, and all to do with metabolic syndrome at that time. So I continued along like that until I was about 59 years old, 10 years ago. And my family doctor said I had an A1C of 7.5 and therefore type 2 diabetic. So I was sent to a cardiologist and was assessed and spent a few hours with a dietitian. And I was put on 4 metformin pills that day. I was also offered insulin injections, which I refused. No basis in knowledge to refuse it at that time, but we're at the end of the line here, so we're going to have to do something. And the suggestion was to go on the Mediterranean diet. So at that time, I was 285 pounds, and I willpowered it down to 225, doing the Mediterranean type diet. And I held that weight for just about 4 years. So in 4 years, I was still on the full regimen of meds, blood pressure, the whole deal. And I was losing my resolve. My weight was not, I was gaining a bit, but my resolve was disappearing out the other end. So my wife was heading in the same direction as well. And we decided, because we did the roller coaster weight gain, weight loss over the years, and we did low carb for a period of time. And during that time, we basically eliminated grains. And I didn't know it at the time, but thinking back, I also lost my asthma. I did not have asthma as soon as I got rid of the grains. But I didn't realize that then because my body was all messed up. So anyway, trying to keep on track here. By February 2021, almost 4 years ago, feeling mentally bad, physically bad. Just I was at the threshold again. So what we decided to do is do the low carb, right? But this time, super low carb. Aim for 0. So that's what we did. So the low carb, we started off, I would eat 2 eggs, 2 sausages, or 2 pieces of meat in the morning. Then I would carry a piece of cheese, like, lump of cheese, all day. And sometimes I'd have to get into that around 11 in the morning. Then as time progressed, well, gee, I don't really need to access this cheese, and it's close to dinner time, so I'll just carry on. And that worked. The ratios were 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carb. The carb was from the vegetable. Okay. I went from 225 down to 185 pounds by August. Then by October, I was down to 175, and by the end of the year, 165, which I'm 165 today at 5'8", or at 173 centimeters, 75 kilograms. So I stayed there ever since. Now, the carnivore part of it, because we're almost there, right? So I started to notice if I had veg, I didn't feel so good the next day. So, well, maybe it was the broccoli, maybe it was the cauliflower. So we started eliminating. And as we got down to basically, it turned out no veg, because you eat, you feel good the next day. It was worth it. So with all of that, I got my A1C down to 5.4. And in the meantime, I sort of started this all backwards because I needed to educate myself. But it's sort of like you start the job and then you get trained. It's one of those things, right? So I educated myself as best I could on the issue. And I've read many textbooks by the players, Jason Fung, Ben Bickman, uh, Ken Berry, he's a great guy. Um, People like that. And anyway, during this whole process, when I started, I stumbled across a video by Sten Ekberg. I'm sitting there, you know, middle of February 21, COVID's still a thing. And, sitting there basically in despair. And this guy comes on the YouTube because it just cycles around. So, what's this guy got to say? He gave me, here's what will happen if you do this, this, and this, and here's the timeline. And I just described the timeline. The timeline is, yeah, I followed it. I had nothing else I could do. So I followed it, and at the same time, educated. So I got a real good handle on what my original issue is. And at the end of that video, and I never heard this before, sugar is a drug. Therefore, I'm a drug addict. Yes, that's what I am. So I follow the addiction model. And that was well presented to me by Dr. Robert Sivas. So that's what I follow. And as anybody with addictions knows, you're sitting on the point of a mountain and you can slide off at any time. But we always try to keep focused. So with all of that, the metabolic syndrome disappeared. Type 2 diabetes has been in remission for over 3 years. I do not take any medications of any form. I was up to 13 tablets a day. Yeah, and my whole body just I couldn't feel my body at all. Like neck up was one thing, neck down was just horrible. So getting off the meds was I really noticed a good difference there. And I'm kind of a person where if I do something, I have to test it, to see what's going on with it, right? So the mental acuity is so I expose myself to somewhat dangerous activity, and you got to be sharp about it, right? Or you get hurt. So I test myself on that, and that works out okay so far. And one thing I must say is for anybody that's interested is it is very worthwhile to learn how to read your own blood work. And there's textbooks out there to do that, and they're not expensive either. So I did that. I learned that, and I feel a lot more comfortable because I have no agenda. I have no background, and so okay, if we'll see how all this stuff goes. And the only problem with medical profession is, of course, my LDL cholesterol is high. It should be around 200, but it's around 350, thereabouts. But every other marker is um, within range or optimal. And I was somewhat pleased with that. So it worked out
So
fine. That
when you see that and you see every marker is good, it's just the LDL is elevated,
yes,
then it makes you feel like the doctors who are running around talking about the LDL is going to kill you. It's really like the what is it, Chicken Little saying the sky's going to fall down. It's
pretty
like
much.
because I mean maybe your LDL's a problem being high if all your other markers are bad, but it doesn't seem like everything would be good and your LDL would suddenly be trying to sabotage your body. It makes no sense, right?
It did not make any sense to me because I realized in the old system, or I guess it's the American system, and we're going back into the 70s now. I go to the family doctor, I get a blood test, and he says, "Oh, my triglycerides are through the roof, deadly." Okay, no fix for that at the time. I don't know if there is a fix for that now, but I can still remember the family doctor. He said, just basically limit yourself to 5 slices of bread a day. Okay, so I guess my triglyceride problem is not going to go away. So uh, my family has lived under that cloud since like 40 years. Lived under the cloud, and the education, venues like you have here, Dave, that tell me I'm not alone, and that's pretty good. Pretty the modern day and how one gets education is much different than before, and better, I think, because no one has an agenda. So anyway, what I have to say, on okay, how did I get the carnivore? It just it was just natural. I listened to my body because I can feel it now. I listen to it and I respond to it. And my body says, you're a beef guy. And I was asked this one time, of all the meat that you eat, what's the best? And I says, beef. Why is that? It lasts the longest. Okay, and the other end of the spectrum, what is the worst? What is the lowest value meat? And I would have to say chicken. So is the lower value for me. So we buy half a cow a year, and we eat the cow, and we eat all the other meat too. We eat the cow from nose to tail, and your body just responds to it. You just feel great. So now there's pitfalls along the way to eventually getting to the carnivore lifestyle, which I think is what we're all supposed to be. That's opinion only, but yeah, that because my family physician, because during COVID, we did. I got my meds through this method, and one day she says, "Are you trying to lose weight?" I said, "No, not really. I've changed my diet some. I wasn't giving up the secret just yet." And oh, okay, good. But it got down to, now I'm sitting there at 165 pounds, 32-inch waist, like I'm 18. on the inside. The outside a little different. But anyway, they kept hammering on the LDL. So I think it was the last time I had an interview with my family physicians. There's several in the clinic. I asked for a fasting insulin test. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff hit the fan, and I was snarked at. Like, what do you want that for? Well, as a type 2 diabetic, to my knowledge, I've never had that test done. And I have records. In British Columbia, I can access all my records online, and they go back to 1996 for me. And no, I couldn't find anything there. So, and what I've learned in the meantime, that's where we should have started. And we didn't. So, I was also told that I would never be off statin. I was also not directly told, but all the meds you're having are that's for life. And I said, no, I don't think so. And I got the blood work back. I got a phone call, and it was, I think, more of a sales call because we have to keep you medicalized. And then I got a note and I'm fired. My family physician fired me. So,
So you've been having these meetings via Zoom.
about every 3 to 6 months for, well, since before COVID, since around
Right.
COVID.
Right. And it was in about 2021 that they fired you.
No, that was in 2023, 2 years ago.
Right. Okay. And
Yeah,
that was because you declined the meds.
yes. I believe that's it. And I was, once you find the truth, then I don't respond kindly to misinformation or no information. But to be fair, in the Canadian medical system, which is socialized, the first line physicians, they are basically hamstrung. We have to follow the food pyramid. We have to suggest any meds, in response, because I see this. They're just check boxes, and okay, that one's an alarm. Boom. Oh, it's that much. Then you need this. So there was no. What I always say to my wife is, okay, there's a job, and you get trained for a job, but mostly you have to take some of yourself, your person, to that job. And I think that was missed because how can you argue with the result?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that the problem seems to be they argue with the result, but they're also like they look at all the numbers in isolation. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no critical thought goes into any of this stuff. And that is what has shocked me the most over the last few years as I've got more and more familiar with, what's actually happening to people when they go to the doctor and say I've got a problem or I want to have a blood test or whatever or go for a physical, is that they're just looking at a number and going, oh, we've got to do something about this. And it's like, hang on, well, shouldn't you be looking at this in the context of everything?
Yes, and that was missed. Yeah, that was missed. And just another little side thing here. The cardiologist. I live in the middle of the province, and Vancouver is where we go for see a cardiologist or whatever. And in this, no, it was, the last interview, which was 9, 10 months ago. I kind of briefly explained what I was doing. I'm OMAD carnivore, pretty much 98+%. And I said, oh, well, basically, how's that going? And I said, you know what? I don't hurt anymore. There is nothing that I can say hurts in my body. And he said, oh, yeah, but you lost weight. That's why. No, 6 weeks in, I'm still 220 at that time. And now I feel like going for a walk. I feel like doing something. I'm still obese, but now I feel like this. I'm not hurting as bad. And all of a sudden, 3 months out, don't hurt at all. Nothing. Everything just changed. And that was a good moment to get to there.
Again, yeah. Again, though, just the oh well, you lost weight. So it's like no critical thought. It's just jump to the first thing you can,
It seems
like,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is how much did this cardiologist pay for their education? And still during that education, no one said you've got to also think critically about this stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure the cardiologist, because of his age, is probably still paying for his education. I hope not, but our children are educated, and some of them are still paying for their education. So, uh, anyway, yeah, it's see the processes of what we're talking about here. That was part of my vocation, is analyzing, why is this doing this? What can I do to alleviate or mitigate what this is? It's all machinery health, right? But the mechanisms and the patterns of discovery are very, very similar. And I know this, and I expect that from someone else, a professional, to tell me. Now, I understand that in our system, the MD is hamstrung to an extent, but a nice little whisper in the air with no record, like a hallway meeting, so to speak, no record of it. But hey, buddy, if you do this, see what happens. I have no recourse if I tip over or anything like that, because it's not recorded, but it's valuable information. And I know, or I hope I know, that these medical professionals know that, and that they're just hamstrung. Or they're 100% bought in to the system, and I'm I'm not bought into the system anymore. I did that.
Yeah. Um, so is your wife is still doing this with you?
My wife and I have followed the exact same path at the same time. And she's just out of the screen here. Um, she's 5'6", I think, and she was highest weight was 173. She weighs 129 almost every day. Same, we are
Wow.
size as when we met in 1974. Yeah, I hear that.
That's
Oh, I wish I could wear my whatever from high school. Well, I can't. So anyway, yeah, and it's way easy, Dave, to follow the path if you got a partner that's on side. Now, that partner doesn't have to be a spouse or anything like that. It has to be somebody you can call, maybe. It's the addiction thing. Some days you're tough, it's hard, you got to call somebody. And I'm lucky I have that. But it's also the day to day living. Our grocery bill, is half. And we eat beef. We eat expensive food, but once a day, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Are you typically eating at like lunchtime or dinner time?
Uh, Mostly it's between 4 and 6 in the afternoon.
So
Yeah,
you go through the whole day till 4 o'clock and you don't feel hungry?
no,
Mm.
no. Well, in the morning, oh, okay, like last night we walked down to the market. Uh, I can eat a whole chicken. So, ate a whole chicken, and I will eat maybe another whole chicken tomorrow, 24 hours later. But a little bit of variety, right? So, we mix it up, but that's all I have. And yeah, it's uh, makes you it makes you not duck, I guess, to the general population. But I do have coffee with a little bit of cream in the morning, maybe an ounce or two of cream, and that's a habit. That is not required. That's just we have a nice time sitting together, watching your videos in the morning, watching others, and yeah, we pass half hour, 45 minutes doing that. It's just a little ritual, and yes, I guess you can give everything up, but life still needs to be lived a bit, and
Yeah, I know. You kind of you've given up so much. It's sometimes nice to have that little bit of coffee or something like that, right?
yeah, yeah, we do the coffee, but uh, we were always meat eaters. Like, but the carb thing got, well, I guess in the 70s, yeah, when I was growing up, we're all about the same size, you know. And but now I look around, no, we're not all the same size. Young people, I see young people, and it's just, uh, it's it just pains me. But
Yeah.
these people are following the good advice.
Yeah,
Uh,
they think they're doing the right thing. That's the worst part of it, right?
well, that's the problem, and that is reinforced by our system. That's reinforced. I did that, Dave, for 40 years, up and down, and like there's something wrong with me. And as I found out, yeah, there's something wrong with me, all right. But what's driving all this? You know, and I found out it's the sugar. Now I have, oh, well, my sister, uh, she thinks, oh, you could be an alcoholic. Well, why is that? Well, I can drink a dozen beers. Yeah, because 260 pounds, yeah, I can drink a dozen beers. I didn't know anything about satiety limits and how that works. I do now. And it wasn't the alcohol that was the driver, it was the sugar in it. Because I can have a 3 gram total carb regular sized beer, but I only can drink two of them because now I'm full because my satiety limit set works now. So, no, I can't have any more. I'm full. That's that. So, it's the whole combination, what that drug sugar does to a person. It just, I think it's worse than anything else I've come across over the long run. It
Yeah.
kills.
I mean, the fact it was easier for me to give up smoking than give up sugar says a lot about the sugar, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. It does. It's powerful. And our society reinforces that. And we just look around. I've read that maybe 80% of our healthcare costs are because of that one substance in all its forms. And they're really good at hiding the forms that it appears in. So that takes some education too.
Right. But there's a bit of a conundrum though, right? Because the like tax revenue and the entire economy relies on a lot of these big food companies that are using the sugar to keep us addicted, right?
Yeah, it is. And, growing up, we knew that, smoking cigarettes not good for you. Drinking alcohol is not good for you. So, you attenuate that or eliminate that if you choose. And, but the food your mother gives you, it should be good, right? And mother did everything that was good, but didn't have the right information. That's the problem. And that information, um, I personally, everybody's a free will to do whatever they want, but to hijack a person with a drug that they don't know they're getting, that that's not good. And I
Yeah,
think that a lot of our problems are.
that's one of the most profound things I heard Dr. Robert Lustig say in one of
Mhm.
his talks was like you can't say that this is personal responsibility if you're actively educating against people understanding what they're doing to themselves, you know?
Exactly, Dave. It's it's no different than yeah, let's say you're an addict of whatever, and we just keep giving you a just little bits of that just to keep you there, and unconscionable to watch one's health over decades just disappear. And that's I'm not real happy about that. And but at 65 years old, 4 years ago, uh, I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. So
So speaking of that, how has your your view of things changed in the last 4 years? So for example, do you feel like, you know, the future's looking brighter for you now? Like, do you feel like I'm just capable of so much more now, or, you know, I've got more energy, that kind of thing?
I am doing things now and in the past 4 years, 3, 4 years, that I could not have done when I was 25. I go with some people around my age, and those people are in good shape. They are didn't have my problem throughout the life. And hiking in the mountains, stairs. The complex we're in right now, it's got 9 floors. I can go top to bottom, never break a sweat. It's warm here. Never break a sweat, and don't breathe hard. Nothing. I just float up the stairs now. It feels weird, really. It feels weird to feel good again, or I probably never felt. Can't remember feeling good. Yeah,
Um,
and
so so just for people watching, because we've talked about stuff that might be confusing. So we mentioned
yes.
that you are in Canada, but we talked about it being warm at the moment. So
Oh, I'm
I have to say thank you to you because you're actually on vacation at the moment in Thailand and you're taking time out from your vacation to do this. So thank you very much.
well, Dave. Venues like you have here are so helpful to people. And I think you've got several, 700 or 800 plus videos, I think, maybe. And I'm just one more of the same people. And like all this time, like I'm alone, there's something wrong with me. And I fought it. And then you give the fight up. I gave the fight up when I retired. I'm trying, and I didn't. And yeah, sure. 2 years after I retired, I gained 30 pounds, 285. Like, come on. Like, I, but I had nothing. All I had was the same bag of tricks that failed me. So, with prompts from people like yourself and the others that, I guess, what do you call them? Influencers, maybe. But, I can talk, I can listen to 5, 10 different angles on the same subject. Then I can sort of decide okay, where's all this going to go? That type of thing. And I sure I cherry pick what works for me, but it ended up it all works for me. So there's no cherry picking in the end. It just all works. And I don't explain this. I don't talk to anybody about this unless I'm asked. And I have been asked, and I get eye rolls. I get it works for you. No, it works for everybody. And there's a should be a mirror in your house, and we have one, and it's called the mirror of truth. You stand in front of that, and with all that you know and all of that you tried and all of that, you will find the problem. And once you know what that problem is, there's nothing holding you back. The way I look at it, anyway. So the mirror of truth has to be talked to.
Yeah. So if someone came to you and said, "What are you doing?" and they didn't give you the eye roll, they said, "Oh, okay, I want to try that." What would you tell them to give them a kind of a head start or best advice?
Well, best advice that I could give is I have in what I have done and endured. And to start out, it's there's a lot of mechanisms around the whole issue. But okay, we're talking to a person with no education on the subject, but reasonably intelligent people that people are. I would start them off, empty the cupboards. Anything that you think has sugar in it, gone. The next thing I would buy, as good as you can afford, of course. You don't want to break the bank. I would buy meat, and that meat will be around 75% of what you eat. I would include the veg, and that's around 20%. And then the carbs that you're getting are from the veg. So that starts you up because I guess your microbiome will get used to that. It's not a big change, right? But like going carnivore would be just like me going carbohydrate. You're not going to feel good for a while. So start there. And after a month, you have gone through the carb withdrawals, and you're starting to feel your body again. If your joints are inflamed or you have abnormally high inflammation, you will feel yourself right there. That's the first thing. That inflammation, boy, everything feels better. Now I can go do stuff, even though you're still obese. And follow that path for 3 months. And after 3 months, you've probably lost 20% of your body weight. Like if you're 200, you might get to 160, you might get to 180, depends. And then your body will tell you where you're going. And your body's going to say, no, no carbs. Oh, a handful of nuts. I did that last year. Pistachios. The guy's birthday needed pistachios. So I had a handful. I paid for that for 2 days. I just, nope, can't do that. But wind the clock back 10 years, I could eat the whole bag. Still feel bad, but don't know why, because everything else feels bad. So that's the big thing now. Now you can see what's affecting you. And yeah, that's listen to your body. Just as a side, when I was just a little kid, right, like an infant, of all the baby foods, like we're talking 1958. It's all high sugar, high fruit, all that. And my mother says, you know what, that kid, all he likes is liver. I learned something 60 some years later that of course uh, we interact with wildlife. I'm a hunter. And in the old days, you get an animal. What's the first thing an animal eats when they get an animal? The liver. That's natural. That's your highest, most nutritious, most vitamins. It is everything you need. And that's why they go for it first. So watch the animals. What do they do? Because, I'm them, sort of, you know. So yeah. And I still like it. I eat it once a week. Now here, beef liver, not so much, but chicken liver works just as good, and it's great. They do a nice job of it here. So yeah, I can still keep on the program in a foreign land where I don't have the language. I, I don't know what they do here. It's warm. That's great, and people are friendly, of course. And yeah, I finally can do that. And
But that brings up, in Thailand, you've been able to keep it up. There's
oh yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
Oh no, it's actually easier here than we winter in. No, we go to Mexico for a couple 3 months in the wintertime. Mexico is a little harder because basically they have a corn-based dietary system there, and it's a little harder. So in Mexico, we don't eat out maybe once a week, and I'll get. There's one place that the person there does great fish, so I'll have fish there. But the rest of the time, we're carnivoring it at home in our condo. Oh yeah, go out once in a while, but and here, I can go to the night market and I can buy all the meat I want, and it's good. So that's what I do. Both of us. Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing one meal a day, and when you're on vacation, that just leaves the whole day open to actually be enjoying the fact you're on vacation rather than going, what am I going to have for lunch? Oh, we've got to line up for breakfast at the hotel and all that kind of thing, right?
Yes, I can tell you just a little story on that subject because we've been away from the eating 6 times a day. I call that's 6 fixes a day is what that is to me. Uh, we watch acquaintances and gee, morning, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, snack in the afternoon or for an hour in the afternoon, supper, and then I don't know what happens before bed. I found that shocking. But you know what? I was reminded, no, that's normal. We did that. And the time and the messing around to everything was meal oriented. But it's a 17-hour flight from home to here. So we just fast. Yeah. They served 2 meals. Slept through one, didn't want the other one. So you go 36 hours, not a big deal. Get some sleep, jet lag, almost non existent. Yeah, jet lag. Who would have thought? You know, just almost non existent. Got here, went downtown in the evening. We've been up from Wednesday morning till Friday. You sleep a little bit on the plane, but had nothing to eat. We never had anything to eat until Friday evening from Wednesday.
Wow.
So, yeah, OMAD. Yeah, when people say, well, how could you do it? Well, there's nothing driving my hunger because I still got 20 pounds of fat on me, and probably, you know. So, just use that and not a problem. Just not a problem. I understand now that somebody would have a hard job getting their head around that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can't, it's very hard to explain the idea of intermittent fasting
It is. It
at
is.
this level to someone who's on a regular diet because they cannot imagine a time where they're not thinking about food. And we know this because we've been there ourselves, right?
I've Dave, I've been through all of that, and I do not understand. I've had so far, I had no significant, other than type 2 diabetes, which is I have now control of. Before I did not have control of it, but I do now. Um, yeah, it's liberating. It's freedom, really, and isn't that what we all want? Freedom. I don't want to be tied to the trough. And type 2 diabetes is, I've lost many friends that have died and have been compromised thus far. And thus far, I got all my toes, I got all my legs. I can still see, although I've got two new eyes because of the cataracts, because of the sugar, because of all of that. So I got there, and but as far as any other event, not so far. And my future, whatever it is, I feel very optimistic that I'm going to make it relatively unscathed. Hopefully, that's I got to have that, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it did to me, and it's not hard to sustain uh, carnivore lifestyle. It is. I wanted to get to a point where I don't have to think about anything of that nature anymore. I never get there probably, but I can put it into the background. It's not an issue. Nothing like that, and the whole calmness that comes with it. Like you're not on that sugar high and low. It's like it's like scratching your. I got to get it right. No, gone, just gone.
And
It's the best.
it so sorry to interrupt. It really is an addiction. You just made me think there where you're scratching there, like I've got to have something. It's
Oh yeah,
but that's what it's like. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm gonna feel really awful after I've done this, but I've just got to do it. And that's what
you're
happens. You do it.
you're just
You,
what it is, Dave.
mm, yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's well, it's the itchy arm syndrome, and like, but I think I don't know. I think 3 months will get somebody where it will get them on the path that they finally realize that, hey, this is working. Where nothing in my life worked for any time, and it was all like in previous to 10 years ago, let's say. Um, Basically, the message I was getting is, what is it? Sloth and what's the other one? Weak-willed. Well, I don't think I'm weak-willed because I can do it the traditional way and get rid of 60 pounds. Can't maintain it though. So it's losing that 60 pounds was, I'm pretty sure there might have been some health benefits to it, but I didn't get off any meds. I still felt like a dog. Well, I hope a dog doesn't feel that bad, but I feel rough and I don't know why. So, yeah. So, anyway, that is liberating.
Mm, mm,
I can't say enough.
yeah.
And, at some point, you look around you and have, well, like, it's kind of an awakening. I'm awake now. Before I was, well, medicalized, and well, that's drugged, right? And now my decision making's not good. Even during my vocation for 40 years, I took a whole lot less because of that. Because uh, something else was guiding me, and yeah, I'm not sour graped about missing the health during those years. I feel bad about it for people around me, of course, but personally, no. I found it. The secret, we call it. You found the secret. As soon as they find the secret, oh boy, we can work with this, and we have, and it's a lifelong. So
Yeah.
it's just lifelong. That's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of feel the same way about myself. You know, it's one of those things where I wish I hadn't gone through the whole, you know, the whole junk food, the whole sugar, the whole alcohol, everything.
Yeah.
But I kind of had to get to the point where I realized what would work. And now I've found what works. I'm quite happy right now.
I'm in the same corner as you, Dave, on that. I finally got it, and of course, like we're not kidding ourselves in any way, shape, or form. There has been damage done, but I sort of, when I embarked on this, I said I kind of got a 5-year plan here. So because I like to test myself on different things. I ride a pretty fast motorcycle, and I exercise that to its end. So, and the reason I say that is some people will view what I am doing as that Brad is fearful. No, I'm not fearful. I just want a good run. And whatever happens in that run happens. But I want a good run. And now I'm getting it. Last 4 years just been just great. Like, really. My younger sister says, "You don't smile." I always tell her I'm smiling on the inside, but today it's on the outside. So that's
Nice.
how good it is.
Nice. So Brad, if people want to reach out to you, is there a way they can get in contact? Do you have any social media?
I I have a Facebook page. It's my name, and that's, yeah. Anybody that wants to talk to me, I will spend any amount of time on that, and because I search for people who are down the same road. Now I've gone down that road, so I kind of have, what do you call that, road experience. So
Well, Brad, I'll put your Facebook in the show notes.
yes,
Thank you so much for coming on, especially on your vacation and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
yes, Dave, I really appreciate what you do here, because, like I said earlier, we're not alone, and it, I don't like to see people struggling like I have, and many others, of course, and I don't like to see that. And if this conversation can bring just a nugget of some different perspective for someone, it's worth the hour and more than worth your time to do this. I appreciate that.